We should be concerned about measles. Measles is not the same disease as it was before vaccination. And this is a study from a blood transfusion unit in Boca Raton. They had received a message from the FDA saying that their hyperimmune globulin against measles was no longer adequate. It did not have adequate immunity in it to be given to people who have, for example, genetic congenital immunodeficiencies who, during an outbreak of measles, could not receive the live viral because their immune system couldn't protect them against the live viral vaccine. And so instead, they concentrate measles antibodies from people who have been exposed from the blood donation, and they give it to those people, which helps protect them during epidemics. The FDA came to them and said, your blood is no longer working. Your hyperimmune globulin is no longer adequately protective. We want you to improve this, or we're going to have to withdraw the license. So they thought to themselves, okay, what we'll do just prior to donation is we will give them an MMR booster, and then we will take their blood because that will push their antibody levels up. It completely failed, and it still did not meet the FDA's required level of measles neutralizing antibody. There was a brief increase in antibody levels, and then it fell away very quickly. That was with boosting. So they said, right, what we're going to do is we've stored samples from people who suffered from natural measles and then were exposed to the single right the way through to the present day. They had these cohorts of people born at different times where their exposure was different. And they looked at the measles neutralizing antibodies in each of those groups, and they drew a graph. And what they showed in that graph was that people who had been exposed, blood donors who had been exposed to natural measles all those years ago, had excellent levels of neutralizing antibodies still in their blood. And they followed them over time. We had the vertical line showing when measles came in, another vertical line showing when the booster dose came in, and the measles neutralizing antibodies went down and down and down, such that it reached the point with current donors exposed to up to 2 doses of measles vaccine had no protection at all. No protection, despite being vaccinated. In fact, because of being vaccinated and not receiving the live virus itself, they were no longer protected. This is really alarming because these ostensibly healthy individuals had no neutralizing antibody to measles virus. So what happens when measles reemerges? What happens when we have a resistant strain that emerges in Africa or Europe and spreads to the world, when our population, our ostensibly healthy population, have no protection whatsoever? That is a real worry. And the problem is that vaccine, which is what they'll recommend, does not protect. It doesn't protect it. This is an escape mutant. This is something that has become resistant to the immunity induced by the vaccine. And we've seen this now. People understand this far better in the post-COVID age. But it's a real worry, because the only answer they have would be to give more doses of the vaccine. And it's the vaccine that got us into this problem in the first place, and it will not get us out of it. So we need to know what they are going to do about this, because it's a very concerning situation.